My 26F, sister Anna, 24F, married my friend Lance, 27M. He was a cool guy in our friend group, handsome, mysterious, smart, quiet. I don't know how he ended up with my sister. She's the total opposite, loud, funny, outgoing. She's beautiful though, really beautiful, and when they got together everyone said how good they looked. Anna seemed to be really in love with him all the time. She used to say how dreamy he was, how good he treated her and how spoiled she felt. But Lance was always so stern and quiet. She would revolve around him at family gatherings, but he wouldn't engage that much with everyone but me and her. I was surprised when he asked her to marry him. My sister never took the wifey role too serious. She had a non-traditional wedding and Lance went along with it. She made a bunch of rules that he agreed to, and then they moved to his house. Anna banned house utensils from the wedding gift list. She doesn't work, didn't finish her studies, and they don't plan on having kids. My sister is pretty much only into her looks, and I didn't think Lance cared for that before. She's always on Snapchat or Instagram. I thought that after getting married, she would dress more appropriate, since she used to use crop tops, blouses, dresses and shirts that showed her cleavage, short skirts or tight jean, but she says that Lance likes her just fine. Last week was my dad's birthday, and we had a party. My sister and Lance came, and she was wearing a pretty short floral dress. Nonetheless, most of the men were looking at her, including my dad's friends. Lance was as stoic as always, and my sister came to my mom and I, and saying that she didn't know why he was so quiet, since he's not like that. He is like that, what the hell. So I told her that if she didn't dress like that he might take her more seriously. She got sad and sat quietly the rest of the night, and I didn't think much of that, but a few days ago Lance texted me, and said that he would appreciate if I didn't comment on her wife's way of dressing again. Did I miss something? I'm not in love with him. You're the idiot, and I would definitely be going low contact or no contact if you were my sister. Why the heck would your sister change how she dresses, just because she is married? The only person that seemed to really care how she dresses is you. You can be married, and have kids and still dress the way you want. It's not your job or place to tell your sister how to dress or her husband. Heck, if she's an adult she can make her own decisions. If her man doesn't like how she dresses or has a problem with it, they should talk. But if he's going to try to change her or get mad at her for dressing in a way that makes her feel good, then he's not the one for her. Tell us you're in love with Lance without telling us you're in love with Lance. Maybe try not speaking for other people about what their problems with someone else is. Very clear from this entire post that you have issues with your sister, and the fact that Lance chose her of all people. Couldn't make that more obvious if you wrote it in the sky. You're better about the fact that your bubbly, outgoing, beautiful sister managed to snag the cool, quiet guy in the friend group. So you decided to put your sister down a notch to make yourself feel better. Grow the hell up, and quit lusting after your sister's husband. You're the idiot. You're the idiot. You have no reason to assume that Lance was quiet because of her dress. Maybe he was quiet because he was pressured into being polite at a bunch of gross old men who were staring at his wife also. Why would you assume she dressed differently after getting married? Because Lance married her and fell in love with her just as she is. She's his wife, she knows him better than you do, so if she says he's not like that, it's because she notices something different about him. Please stop doing this. This is what's holding women back, being pitted against each other instead of supporting each other. I genuinely don't know if I screwed up or not, so we'll see. So I am 32, struggled with lack of employment for several months. I finally got a job opportunity that requires me to work from home, and for that I needed a quiet space, which is hard to find in a 3-room apartment with 2 kids. My wife has a workout room with all of her working equipment. I asked if she'd let me have it so I could turn it into an office for my work, and she said no discussions, no compromises, just no, man. I tried to reason with her and explain to her why an office is more needed than an exercise room, but to no avail. No is still no. I thought that she was being unsupportive and unappreciative of the fact that I'm trying to make us money to provide for the family. I waited for her to leave the apartment, then had all her workout stuff out, and turned the room into an office away from the noise and distraction. She came home, and lost her crap on me for doing this and yelled that I was being inconsiderate of her struggles with keeping fit and healthy, since she has a number of disorders that she only manages via working out, but I took that away from her. I explained to her that I have a stronger cause, because I need the room, so I can work, and again earn us money, to keep a roof over our heads. Yet she called me a manipulative, an abusive sop for going behind her back and kicking her out the room like this. She demanded I put everything back, but I said no, and even told her she was being a child throwing a temper tantrum over silly crap, and not giving a crap about my work conditions, when she should be accommodating me. She told me to back off since this is her apartment too, and I had no right to steal her room. She's sulking to the fullest degree now and is trying to get me to put everything back. Am I the idiot? Ash, neither of you were willing to compromise when you should be. You should both be considerate of each other's needs, but instead you've both dug in and decided you are more important than the other. You even like each other. Why can't you share the room and have a rota? Or set up an office in your bedroom on the strict understanding that you will be left alone in work hours? Or could her exercise stuff be practically used somewhere else, or some kept in that room, others moved elsewhere? There are so many ways you could make this work if you just gave a crap about each other. Ash. You didn't try to compromise, you basically kept trying the same thing over and over, and then you went behind her back, and took everything out of that space. She screws, at least how presented in your question, because she outright said no as well, with no discussions. If you found a way to share the space, or not taking her stuff out fully, so that it can be moved around or put back, that'd be one thing. Honestly, it sounds like neither you nor your wife, and again, how she is presented through your view of her, seem like reasonable people, or like you even like each other. For example, you're dismissing her health as silly crap. Ash, but you're more than your wife. Your wife is a stay-at-home mother. The whole house is her workplace, looking after you, your children in the home, whilst apparently having several health issues too. That workout room probably was her sanctuary, her little break away from everything, and helping her to maintain her physical and mental well-being. Do you really need the whole room to work? I work from home at the moment, and all I need space-wise is a table and chair. Can you not put a desk in your bedroom? Won't a small desk fit in the workout room? There are many ingenious small space working solutions available, either to buy or self-build. My wife and I live in one side of a duplex. We're both creatives, with trades learned from our families. My wife is a seamstress, and I do woodwork. In our duplex, space is tight and permits are indefinitely delayed, so I have to work out of the garage. I keep the walls covered in plastic tarp to keep things clean and contained. The walls are good enough, and I've reinforced them in that room in particular as best I can without actually building out. There's another door into the house also. I work fairly standard hours usually, but sometimes to finish a project, I'll work well into the night. I've never had complaints about noise before. The person on the other side is a single mom with multiple kids. She started to complain about walking by the garage, because it looks like something out of Dexter. I've never seen it. It's now grown into her telling everyone that I'm a real-life Dexter, that my wife is probably terrified of me, and I'm holding her hostage, because she doesn't even have a car, she can't drive for medical reasons, and that she's scared of me, and thinking about buying a gun to protect her kids. She's even called the police multiple times, who have come out. Nothing came of it because they know us and some of them have been customers before, but it's still scary in today's world and unnecessary. We've offered to talk to her and explain, but she thinks it's a trap. I don't usually advertise this fact, but we technically own the entire duplex. My wife San gave it to us with the caveat that profits from renting out the other half would go into a trust that we can't access until we're 30. The actual property management is done by a third party, but we have some level of control over who lives there. We're really tired of her in this, so we had a warning sent that she will be evicted if she keeps this up as it's creating a noise disturbance. She's now sobbing that we're trying to put a single mom on the streets. Now people that were on our side are saying that we went too far and shouldn't have done that. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She is upset that her ridiculous actions have consequences. She is running her mouth, and it has come back to bite her, and unfortunately her children. You can only harass people for so long, before they push back. You're well within your rights to feel frustrated. She is claiming your wife is scared of you, and you murder people. What happens if someone starts really taking these claims seriously? This can escalate much farther. Who knows what she has told people about you in this situation? She has probably said you threatened her with a circular saw, and she is forced onto the cold, unforgiving streets because you are a real-life Dexter. Not the idiot at all. Even if you didn't own the whole duplex, you would have been well within your rights to contact the landlord and have them deal with her. You just cut out the middleman because you are the landlord. That doesn't make you the idiot, you're not abusing that power. She literally has called the cops on you, and is making accusations about your partner's safety. None of that is okay, it's well past the line. Also, just because you're a mother doesn't make you immune to the consequences of your own actions. She didn't have to make such a stink over a little plastic sheeting in a garage. She chose to do that. The hold, cause, and effect, she can now choose to move, or cut it out. Not the idiot. Screw everything about this. She called the police on you multiple times. What if an officer you didn't know came? Well, you had an axe or other sharp tool in your hands. You could have been shot. This woman put your life at risk. She almost made your wife a widow. And you need to feel sorry that she is a single mom. Honestly, I'd give her the boot. You don't crap where you eat. She maliciously started rumors about you and called the cops, and now she pulls out her single mother card. She should have thought about that before she started a war with you. You deserve to live in a home with enjoyment rather than worried about what she will do next. My daughter, I'll call her Lucy, is 18. She's studying her A-levels and wants to study medicine. Today we went for lunch with my parents along with my brother and his family. When we left, Lucy was in tears and is still crying now that we're home. I'm pleased to say Lucy got an offer from Uxbridge. She aced the interview and got a conditional offer. While she still needs to get the grades in the summer, we're sure she will, seeing as she's top of all her A-level classes and often gets 100% in exams, assessments and coursework. I'm so proud of her. Naturally, Lucy is very excited and was happily telling her grandparents and everyone else the good news. My brother has a son, I'll call him Harry. He wanted to do it or something like that, but unfortunately hasn't been accepted to anywhere he applied for. Understandable, he's very upset. They're looking at other universities as well as things like apprenticeships or entry-level jobs. My brother had a word with me and Lucy, saying that while he's very happy for her, we should be a little sensitive because of Harry. At dinner, Lucy was excitedly telling everyone about her unit. We explored the place when we went for her interview, and it's truly beautiful. She was talking about all the exciting things she'll get to do. I know she was getting a bit too carried away, but no parent wants to stop their child when they're this excited and happy. Harry was staring into his food the whole time. My brother attempted to interrupt and steer the conversation away from Lucy or Uxbridge, but Lucy still had more to say. In the end, Harry stood up and walked out. Lucy was still excited, but her attempt to say any more resulted in my mother snapping at her that we all heard enough and that she should think about someone else for once. She called her a spoiled and rude girl. Lucy started sobbing and ran out. We left soon afterwards and Lucy was crying in the car. I am raging. I'm sorry that Harry didn't get the place he wanted. Truly I am, but why should that mean Lucy isn't allowed to talk about what she's achieved? Do they have any idea how hard it is to be even considered to study medicine at a university like that? I'm sorry, but this isn't primary school, where everyone gets rewarded for making an effort. Lucy succeeded and Harry didn't. Why should his failure stop her from being proud of herself? I'm gonna go Ash. Your daughter has done amazing. You and she have every right to be proud. But Harry is clearly hurting and having a difficult time. Some sensitivity from you and your daughter wouldn't go amiss. Your family asked you both nicely, and then they had to keep on asking. And heedless to that, she kept plowing on. Your mother's words and the fact they reduced her to tears was too much. But it's quite possible Lucy reduced Harry to tears, and from what you've said, even after he literally walked out, she still had more to say about it. Ash. Your brother and Harry were being more than a little over the top. Yes, it screws he didn't get into the places he wanted to get it, but that shouldn't take away from Lucy's accomplishments. That said, it sounds like a significant amount of time was spent on Lucy raving about her getting into the school. And that sounds exhausting and insufferable. Like, absolutely take several minutes to be proud of her and let her have her moment. Then move on to other things. Getting into a good school is a great accomplishment, but there's really only so much that it can be talked about. You are the idiot. Your mom shouldn't have snapped to the extent she did, but they had tried to change the subject multiple times, and you yourself admitted that Lucy got carried away. It's one thing to be excited and talk about your future, but it seems she dominated the conversation for the better part of the meal. I don't know who is talking about what, that's rude. Both your mom and brother tried to change the subject, and after a while, you should have helped them steer your daughter away from unit talk. Of course Harry has to listen to some of it. It isn't Lucy's fault he didn't get into the schools he wanted, but enough is enough, and it reached that point even by your metric.